Right, so this is looking at how to answer an exam question on inspector calls. As you can see, they're usually centred around a theme, character or a central idea to the play, and some typical exam questions are listed below. The exam question that we're going to focus on is how does Priestley use dramatic devices to create tension in inspector calls? So the exam question says, how does Priestley use dramatic devices to create tension in an inspector calls? And as you can see from the spider diagram, those are the different elements that I would talk about when responding to this question. So we've got the lighting, the setting, the dramatic irony that we see through Mr. Burling, the entrances and exits, and all of these things create atmosphere and suspense. So this is the paragraph plan. You can see that I've numbered them according to which one I would talk about first. So I would start off by talking about the lighting and how it's pink in the opening, which creates an intimate, pleasant atmosphere. I'd move on to talk about the change in the lighting, how it's brighter and harder when the inspector enters and the connotations of that. Following that, I'd talk about the setting and how it's in one room, which helps focus attention. Then the dramatic irony, so we're talking about the language in particular there, and how it's centred around Mr. Burling, and there's a couple of quotes to exemplify that. And finally I'd talk about entrances and exits and how they've been timed to allow for dramatic change and to create cliffhangers. I would put an introduction at the start and a conclusion at the end to tie it back to the question. So finally I have an example of my introduction and conclusion. It's obviously very important to link the question into your response, otherwise you will restrict your marks overall. So the introduction that I've used refers to the use of dramatic devices and how they create tension. I then straight away talk about the lighting, moving on from there. And the conclusion basically ties together all of the loose ends, again drawing it back into the question. In between these two you would need to create point, quote, comment paragraphs linking each idea back to the question alongside this.